A Japanese man in colorful pajamas wakes up in a white, empty room with no doors, windows, or apparent ceiling. He discovers a peculiar protuberance shaped like a male member on one of the walls. When he presses the tip, hundreds of giggling baby angels come out of the floor and walls, stay for a few seconds, then disappear, leaving behind their members sticking out of the surfaces. This is the learning phase. The man, terrified, begins pressing the various buttons. Each button press causes a different random object to fall into the room, from a small toothbrush to a large vase. He realizes that pressing the same button gives the same object, which he tests by creating a huge pile of chopsticks. His amusement is short-lived when another button releases a small cart that hits his legs. The next button he presses turns into a butt that passes gas in his face. Hours later, the man has accumulated a huge variety of objects. He throws a ball at a wall, hitting a button that gives him sushi. He's excited because he's hungry, but he lacks soy sauce. He repeatedly presses the sushi button, getting more food but no sauce. Frustrated, he eats the sushi, finding it delicious. After finishing, he presses the button for more, and a bottle of soy sauce finally appears, enraging him. He pushes the bottle away, presses a different button, and gets a pair of old-school 3D glasses. When he puts them on, he sees a baby angel pointing at his member, and he thinks he's found the answer. He presses the button, and a countdown begins, followed by a giant butt appearing from above to pass gas on him. Some hours later, he is entertained by 5 volumes of a manga but gets the 7th volume when he presses a button for the 6th. He tries other buttons, getting volumes 8 and 9 but still no 6. The last button he tries, however, opens a section of the wall to reveal a door. He celebrates but loses track of which button opened it. He tries one at random, and an African tribesman runs from wall to wall. The next one makes water fall on his head. The third is the correct one, but the door closes on his face before he can get through. He realizes the door stays open as long as the member tip is down. He tries various methods to keep the button pressed, including using his foot, hitting it with a fly swatter, pulling it with a jumping rope, hitting it with air from a fan, and pushing it with a cart, but none work. He needs to find a way to keep the tip down. He tries to put a huge vase on top of it, but the button pops back up. He concludes he needs to fill the vase to make it heavier. First, he tries with water, but it only falls on him. His next attempt is with sushi, but the vase becomes too heavy. He uses chopsticks to remove sushi piece by piece until he can barely lift it. He takes it closer to the buttons but, again, loses track of the correct one. He puts the vase down, and when he tries a button, the African tribesman comes out and accidentally bumps into the vase, causing it to crack and break. This sends the man over the edge. As he freaks out, he finds the right button and starts covering it with sushi, but the little member pops up again. He tries covering it with tape, then tape and a steel plate, but nothing works. After taking painkillers and a nap, he wants to wash his teeth and presses a button to get water. It's the wrong button, but a rope falls from the ceiling, giving him a new idea. He opens the door, then uses the rope to swing across the room to make it before the door closes. He discovers the door behind the fake wall is locked. He returns just in time before the door closes, getting hit on his way out. In frustration, he kicks the wall, activating a button that releases a key that floats in the middle of the room. It also disappears when the button perks out. He realizes he must find a way to keep both the key in the room and the door open. He loses the key button again, but by observing where his foot landed, he tries a button and a dog comes out, barking at him. The next button also gives him a dog. The third time he is successful. While keeping his eyes and a pointing hand on the button, he walks backward and grabs a piece of sushi to mark it. When he presses it, however, the dog comes out again. This time he finds the button faster. He makes the rope appear, swings on it, and uses a plunger he had acquired earlier to push himself farther, successfully pressing the key button, grabbing the key, pressing the door button, and reaching the door before it closes. He inserts the key, but to his dismay, he finds another lock on the top that requires a 3-digit combination. He rushes out, getting hit by the door as it closes. In frustration, he throws the plunger at the opposite wall, activating the button that releases the African tribesman. He realizes something. The tribesman has 3 numbers painted on his forehead. These must be the combination. The man repeats the process 3 times, 1 for each number. The third time he stays inside and opens the door, but it is stuck. As he pushes it open, the wall behind him closes, trapping him without enough room to open the door fully. Devastated, the man sits on the floor and cries, remembering the fun he had with the objects from the buttons. He had been locked there too, but at least he had room to move and entertainment. He now realizes he didn't appreciate what he had. Suddenly, he feels a breeze from the left wall and finds a crack. He pushes the panel open and runs out, reaching a mysterious hallway floating in a black area. After what feels like an eternity of running, he reaches a room, his hair longer and his pajamas faded. This room is also empty, and the door closes as soon as he enters, but instead of baby angels there are now adult ones who also disappear into the walls and leave out their members as buttons. This is the practice phase. Meanwhile, in a city in Mexico, little Antonio's family is worried because the father, a wrestler known as Escargot Man, is more taciturn than usual. His wife thinks it may be because his next opponent is much younger, but the grandfather points out that experience matters more than youth. Escargot Man is picked up by his daughter, Sister Karen, who drives him to the wrestling ring to get ready. At school, Antonio is bullied by classmates for betting on his father, whom they call a weak loser. Karen takes her van to pick up Antonio and their grandfather to see the match. Antonio and his grandfather find the last seats. The first team to enter the ring are the Northern Tough Ones, Super Demon and Tequila Joe. Then Escargot Man and his partner Silver Eagle enter as the Kiss Me A Lot team. Silver Eagle starts with a brilliant performance but is soon overpowered when the Northern Tough Ones fight him together. They gesture for Escargot Man to join the fight, but he refuses until Silver Eagle tricks his opponents into hitting each other, allowing him to escape. Escargot Man is quickly overpowered too. But just as his opponent is about to hit him with a chair, the man in the mysterious room presses a member button, causing Escargot Man to magically extend his neck and knock out both opponents with a headbutt. In the room, nothing happens, so the man keeps pressing the button, causing Escargot Man to knock out Silver Eagle, the referee Antonio and even the bell. Seeing no results, the man tries different buttons. One causes a singer in a metal band in Los Angeles to breathe fire. The next makes a Russian magician fail a trick, and the third makes a man in China bark at his own dogs. The man is about to give up when he sees light coming from above and notices that, unlike the last room, there is no ceiling, and he can see angels flying in the distance. He decides to try something new. He will use the member buttons to climb the walls. It works, and every time he grabs a button or steps on one, something amazing happens on Earth, from flowers blossoming to an elephant dying. The higher he goes, the more complex the effects become, affecting not just nature but humanity, both in little and big things like a toaster and landing on the moon. By the time he reaches the top, his hair and beard have grown long. He can now float like the angels, and using the experience gained from the previous rooms, he embraces his role of God and begins choosing humanity's biggest hits on purpose instead of randomly pushing buttons. By the time he's done, he's surrounded by feathers, and he enters a glowing portal that takes him to the last room. This one has the continents on its walls and a huge member button that the man is about to press. This is the future phase. And that's where the story ends. Symbol reminds us that life's biggest challenges often come without instructions, and sometimes the only way forward is through persistence, patience, and imagination. It's a surreal reminder that even absurd struggles can hold meaning if we're willing to look deeper. I give Symbol 2009 a 7 out of 10. It's one of the strangest films you'll ever see, bizarre, funny, and thought-provoking all at once. Hitoshi Matsumoto delivers a unique mix of comedy and philosophy, but it's definitely not for everyone. If you enjoy surreal, experimental cinema that makes you question its meaning long after it ends, Symbol is a hidden gem worth experiencing. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your interpretations in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video for more mind-bending movie recaps.